We are here again. Welcome, 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 everybody. Can you hear me, Oscar? Oh,
I feel like a
your
Billy
hair is
Joel
this.
song. You wake up in the
Your
morning
hair
with
is.
your hair on fire.
You know what? I was watching a documentary with the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen,
Yeah.
and man, it was talking about when they were making that song, producing the song "We Are the World."
Oh
Remember
yeah.
that song? We
Yes.
are the world. You know, they misquoted something and I caught it in that video. Where he was like they were talking about when like Jesus was being tempted in the wilderness, right?
Mhm.
And they were like uh and when God turned stone to bread, I was like, wait a minute. God never turned stone to bread. I was like, wait a minute. They needed they needed a theologian in the room because that never happened.
Yeah, this is a great country song. It says, "Jesus, can you turn this wine back into water?" That's so good. It's such a great line. It's like,
At least it was accurate
yeah,
somewhat, you know?
right.
God. Well, we have a great show ahead of us, guys. We have the wonderful Miss Whitney Kobrin coming on, and she works with ladies when it comes to developing their romantic life and personal life. And so, we love having her on here. We had her on this morning, and Oscar, you missed it. I'm sorry,
I'm
man.
sorry. I just
It
came back
was
from a labor
absolutely
meeting.
amazing. Yeah, I know it was. Isn't I felt sorry for you. I really did because it was a great morning.
I had to get up early and
Uh,
have breakfast.
but you could catch it on LinkedIn and on YouTube, and in about a week from now, we'll have it posted on there, or you could go to Spotify and listen to it. But she talked about some really profound things when it comes to dating and relationships, and I think it's stuff that we all can kind of live with. So I see her in the back room. Hey, Whitney, I knew you could hear us. So, but let's talk about let's go into your segment here, Oscar.
Sure.
Talk about some of the stuff that you do on a regular and give the people a quick update.
Sure. What I do as an associate with Legal Shield is help individuals, families, and businesses navigate the craziness that goes on every day. We literally have legal issues every day. Every time that we hit that little button says I accept, that's a big long letter written by a law firm, and it's usually not our law firm. And we just hit accept, and then we get the consequences on the way back. There was a great Black Mirror episode about that. And we're just giving our rights away, signing away things that we have no idea what it is because we don't take the time to read the full contract. We actually had a customer that their son was buying a car, and he's about to sign the contract, and the father says, "Let me run this through our law firm with Legal Shield and see what they say." And the law firm came back and said, "Make sure they take off the dealer prep, $200 dealer prep off of that car." He called up the dealership. He says, "I want that dealer prep off," and they, without putting up a fight, they said, "All right, no problem." Got back to the lawyer and says, they didn't put up a fight. He says, "Well, they shouldn't, because dealer prep is basically washing the car and taking it around to the front. That's dealer prep." So that son was going to finance that $200 for 36 months. So that is a very expensive car wash. So that's just one of the ways that having a law firm in your pocket helps you out on a daily basis. And through what we do with ID Shield, being the only ones that have licensed private investigators to do the heavy lifting. We talk about a traffic stop that turned really bad because they were wanted for some sort of federal crime that had nothing to do with the guy. Guy ends up getting arrested, spends 2 weeks in jail till they find out that he's not really the one they were looking for. And about 2 months later, he spends another 2 weeks in jail because that was still in the system. So you need that combination of your identity being monitored daily to find out if anything's going on, and then the legal backing to have things done to help you out. So that's basically what we do to just start touching on what we do to help individuals, families, and businesses. And again, some of the money in our organization we take and we use to fund agencies that stop child sex trafficking in the US and around the world. So we do good for everyone involved with us. And hopefully we get a better screen that my hair doesn't look like it's on fire next time. Phil, back to you.
My dude, that kind of information right there is like makes me want to put my pants on one leg at a time, you know? I've tried doing it both with like both my legs at the same time. I'm
Doesn't
going
work.
to tell you, you know, I think I'm going to record it and send it to you the next time I try to do that because it's
I've seen
hysterical what
I've seen
happens.
gymnasts do that, actually do backflip and land in a pair of pants that people are holding.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I saw
you're
that
not a
video.
gymnast.
That was my inspiration. That was my inspiration was let me see if I can do this to generate some views for our platform, you know. And yeah, no.
The only view was got from the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
Well, you know, I'm glad I didn't press record. I'm glad it was just more like skip this Phil today. Just you know. Anyway, you know, before we get into any more time loss, I just want to make a quick announcement to our audience that you can find us on Roku and Amazon Fire TV at Phoenix National Network. Um, just have to put that in the search app. You can also type in PNN or Vortex TV. We've just partnered with Vortex TV and BCI TV. Yep, just scan that QR code that's right behind Mr. Capel, and you'll be able to jump onto the platform. Don't forget to visit pnnstationplus.com for more information. If you like what you hear, you can hear a whole lot more. Tonight on the Bishop's Corner, we're going to be talking about investing and the basic things you need to know about that. I mean, the market is going up and down, but we're supposed to be in something called a bull market. So, you know, hey, let's learn a little bit more about that, right, Oscar?
The Bulls and the
And
Bears,
the Bulls and the Bears. I mean, it sounded like a when we were
like a sports team.
when we were talking about it, it's like it sounded like you guys put two animals in a cage and just said, "Go at it." Whoever wins, we bet. I win, right? So anyway, we're going to be learning more about that this evening at 8 p.m. You can catch it on the Phoenix National Network or go to bci-tv.com for more information. Very exciting stuff. Okay, now we are going to welcome our special guest, none other than Miss Whitney Kobrin. Hey, Whitney.
Hi, Phil. Hi, Oscar.
Hello, I'm trying to find my focus on you background. I just realized that I never know when I'm logging into this platform what's going to show up. So I'm stuck with this one for now.
It's
I
all
missed
good,
I missed
Oscar.
this morning, Whitney. I'm sorry, I had a meeting I had to go to, but
Well,
fill
you're
me
in
in.
trouble
What did I
now.
miss? I know it's always a great show whenever you're on, even the 10 minutes at the on the morning show.
Thank you.
Yeah, Whitney, just introduce yourself real quick and tell the folks a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yes. So I am Whitney Kobrin, and I'm a dating and relationship expert and a coach for women. So I help women to successfully navigate this crazy world of modern dating, starting with loving and accepting yourself, dating confidently, knowing how to attract and choose the right partners, and setting the foundation for a healthy, lasting relationship.
So, what does a healthy, lasting relationship entail?
Mm. I bet a lot of people can think of things that are not a part of a healthy, lasting relationship. I think most people have more exposure and experience with relationships that are not super healthy.
Because I figure we're all kind of dysfunctional, but there's some
I
level of
think,
normalcy, right?
yeah, we all learn our relationship habits from mostly two places. One is our families, which, yeah, let's all recognize that our families are pretty much all dysfunctional to some degree, varying degrees. And then we also learn our relationship skills from TV, movies, entertainment, right? Which is really there to entertain us with comedy and tragedy. It's not meant to show us a whole lot of healthy interactions.
Yeah,
So,
Not at all.
people say I come from a dysfunctional family. I'm like, yeah, so that's called a normal family. It's not a TV family.
Or they say, I experienced some major levels of trauma. It's like, what was
Good.
the trauma? My dad didn't give me the $1,000 I asked for. It's like, well, okay.
it's funny though, because trauma is not the thing that happens. Trauma is your response to it.
Oh.
So sometimes there's really big, horribly traumatic things that happen that somehow the person gets somewhat protected and it doesn't affect them all that much. And then sometimes there's little things that it just digs into somebody deep down and can have a really huge traumatic reaction to something that might not necessarily be traumatic. So, and there is real trauma, versus our little, some people call them little t trauma, like the things you're
Hmm.
talking about, the little things that are just disappointments in life. But they all
Right.
affect us, right? Our personalities, a little bit of it is what we're born with, but a lot of it is how we've learned to survive in this world and our coping
Hmm.
mechanisms. And so when I work with my clients, so I guess, can I talk a little bit about who I work with and
Y-
who?
Sure.
Your show, lady.
Yeah.
Focus on you.
Let's focus on the ladies that I help. And I guess it
Okay.
is kind of a focus on me because I help a lot of people that are struggling with exactly what I struggled with. So I was in multiple toxic relationships. I'm in my 40s now. In my 20s, it was just, it was so many bad patterns of settling for people that I knew I didn't really have deep feelings for, and trying to make that work, and chasing after the guy that I really had these feelings for, and he was just kind of giving me crumbs and not really there for me. There was a lot of stress and anxiety and worries and this need to be the right way and say the right thing and do the right thing and be exactly as he wants me to be. And I know a lot of women can relate to this because I've talked to them. And it can feel like you're doing everything right in dating and it's just not working. And there are always blind spots. There's always something going on that you don't realize is going on. Whether that's something you're doing or just how you're showing up or something you're not doing, something that you're afraid of. And that's who I love to help. It's not that women need help on how to date very often, sometimes, especially if someone is coming out of a 20-year marriage. They haven't dated in a really long time. The landscape of dating has completely changed. And I love helping those people too, because if they go out on their own, what's going to happen? They're probably going to get chewed up and spit out and quickly give up on the whole idea of dating. And I've seen it over and over and over again. We need help in this area. And I think so many people don't think about getting help to date better and to find their person because, we know that we need an education, we know that we need job skills, but we kind of assume that we have enough personal life skills already. But again, going back to what we said, where did you learn it from? Your dysfunctional family and the dysfunctional people on TV. So you think you know well, but then your
Right.
experience is that relationships never work out. And we know that relationships can work out. All three of us are people that are in solid, healthy, loving, lasting relationships. They do exist, they are out
Mhm.
there. And what I've learned from my experiences from being in toxic relationships, controlling relationships, trying to settle and not having that work out, I've done the inner work that it took to show up as my authentic, confident self. And I learned the skill set of what it takes to date in this modern world, how to text, how to flirt, how to set boundaries, what to do when a guy says, well, I'm free after 10 p.m. if you want to come by tonight. You just tell him, oh, thank you. I'm flattered, but that's not really my style. I'm late. I'm free this weekend, though, if you want to take me on a real date. Like, it's not that complicated, but it's hard to actually put into practice when people don't know this and aren't used to this.
Well,
So
you said you're in.
you basically teach people how to draw the line somewhere, like, you know, like don't be so out there that it's like I go for anything that's offered.
Yes. Yeah. So the way that I look at it is cast a wide net and then filter.
Hmm.
And some people need more help casting the wide net because they just don't meet people and they don't interact with guys. And times have changed. It is so much less likely that you'll meet your partner in the grocery store. Many different factors are playing into it. One is social or online dating has taken that need away for a lot of people. Another is people have just gotten to be more independent, more isolated, especially after the pandemic. It's not as friendly. People are like, whoa, I don't
True.
know you, back off. Guys, we want guys to take the lead and ask us out. But when a random guy talks to you at the grocery store, you're like, ew, get away.
Well, the third thing is
No,
the price of everything at the grocery store. So nobody goes to the grocery store anymore. It's like,
I was I was noticing that, like, but I noticed it's for certain, like, the older people are very open to talking. Like, if you're talking to somebody between the ages of, let's say, 40 and 60, they're very approachable. They're like, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" I mean, people walking through. I'm a very friendly person in the supermarket anyway. But it's like some like the younger generation is very much like, "Hello, hi, why are you saying hi to me? Do I know you? Are you
you're
on
not on
my
my
social
list.
media?"
You're not my friend. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just you can sense the tension of you're in my space kind of a thing, and they're really not open to, you know, talking.
yeah. And there's this whole movement, direction that our society is heading in where women just don't have the patience for men. And
Wow.
now that women have independence and we can work for ourselves and get what we want and buy our own things, like we've collectively, women have decided, oh, I guess I don't have to put up with, right? Put up with a man. And men at the same time, there's a lot of men that are saying, well, I don't have to put up with a woman. I don't have to take her out and buy her things. And I could just hang out with my friends and, go on Tinder every once in a while to get needs met if that's their thing. So there's a lot of, I don't know. I think that our
Yeah.
whole society is just like getting away from healthy relationships. It's like it's gotten hard. And so instead of figuring out how to make it good, they're giving up.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
again, the new technology now, people are not interacting with people. So we're getting more and more isolated. And it's like, yeah, it's okay. I don't need people. So, how do you meet people and have relationships? And even like the younger people now, that everybody's still living in groups like they're in college because nobody can afford to have their own apartment. So it's like, yeah, it's four of us. We're still, it's like this pod that they go through life together.
Friends.
Sounds
Yes,
fun.
friends. It's friends. Yeah. You
And
know?
I'll never be the person that's like, you need a relationship, you need a partner to be a whole person. Like, there is no you complete me. Like, you're a complete person on your own. But and being alone is so much better than being in a toxic, awful relationship. Like, we need to know when to draw the line and set boundaries and not be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. But again, now that I have experienced what it's like to be in a relationship with someone that I can share my needs and my boundaries and have them be respected and be spoken to, with respect and admiration and honor. And it's just so lovely. My life is so much more enriched by having this partner and than it would be without. And I know that's not for everybody, but the people that I'm speaking to and offering help to are those that wish they could be in a happy, healthy relationship. And they might not even know why it's not working, but it's just not working. So maybe they just broke up and it's like, oh gosh, we've got to start all over again. Ugh, where do I even begin? And that's why I love what I do, because I also create a community around this. So it's not just
Mhm.
you facing the realm of dating, it's you with all your gal pals, these other women that are also on the journey, that are also showing up, ready to do their own inner work as needed, ready to figure out, is there something I'm doing that is not resonating with the type of guy that I want? We often say, like, yeah, I date, yeah, I'm trying, but it's like, where do you spend your time? Are you just going to Pilates with all the ladies, or are you actually going places where there might be single men? Right?
Just going to Zumba,
Yeah.
the Zumba class. Yeah, that's so interesting. I think that there's so many dynamics going on when it comes to social normalcy, right? What was normal in the 70s is no longer normal now. 80s or 90s even, I remember when I was in high school, you had to kind of make that effort, like, and everybody it's almost like everybody knew the rules. Everybody knew the rules of dating. Like, oh, she likes me. How do you know she likes you? Well, she looked at me. you know Now we don't even look at each other. you know
Everyone's so guarded and afraid. And I mean, there's a lot of danger in the world. Like, I get it. It makes sense. But it's not gonna get you where you want to go to live from fear.
so let me ask you, go ahead, Oscar. You had
Yeah.
something
So
to go
you
ahead.
said you're in a toxic relationship, and there are probably a lot of people that are in the same position. So when did you realize that you were in a toxic relationship? What are the things that, like, the first sign of, like, hey, this is this is not going to get any better. This is actually going to escalate.
In my early years, I didn't really even get it at all.
Right.
Most of the relationships would just never really launch, never really take off. It would just be the flame out, like jumping all in. Oh my gosh, this is great. And seeing each other every day. And then all of a sudden it would just like kaput.
That's it. We did. It's like
Um,
first stage rocket. It's like, and then it's like, all right,
yep.
leave that first
And,
stage.
and then, I was with my son's father, and that was a toxic relationship. And I tried everything. I bent over backwards to be nice, to be pleasant, to be helpful, to take care of him, to do whatever he was asking, because I just didn't know that I didn't have to do that. I thought, if it's not working, I have to fix it. And in a healthy relationship, that's great. If both partners are trying to fix it, um, that can really work out. And there are many marriages and relationships that hit hard times and are able to work through it. But if your partner is just not open minded, not open to your opinions, your needs, if they're stuck in their ways, if they're stonewalling you, like giving you the silent treatment, that's not fair fighting. And you have to be able to work through conflict in a fair way without name calling, without yelling at each other, without violence or throwing things. It's okay to have
For
emotion,
sure.
but
Now you tell me.
yeah. So yeah, some of these things just are so normal, right?
Hmm.
Like you get mad at someone, you yell at them. Like that's so normal for so many people. And it's like a fish
Hmm.
doesn't know it's in water. Like you don't know that that's not really healthy and it doesn't have to be that way. If somebody puts you down and makes you feel bad about yourself, huge red flag.
Hmm.
Huge. You can't tolerate that. If you tolerate it, you're saying, okay, that's great. This is
Hmm.
fine. This is what I want. Like, just tolerating it is giving it permission.
Right. Tolerance develops normalcy, right? So whatever you tolerate becomes normal to you. And so it's so many. There's so many times that we make that compromise in order to be accepted by somebody we think really, needs to value us. So, how do you help? How do you, how do you catch yourself, like when you find yourself doing that, like, oh, I'm just gonna, I can make this person love me. I can
That it's
definitely
that
make this
that
person
people
like me, even just like me, and you can spend a lot of years in that mode.
that
Yeah.
people pleasing mode that Drew talks about. Your
Yep.
confessions of a people pleaser. And you know, are we naturally want to be people pleasers? I mean, from the Bronx, that doesn't happen. But I mean, all you normal people outside of the Bronx that
So there's this amazing book called The Five Personality Patterns. And my background in education is in psychology, and I've always been fascinated by personality types, and this one is the best one I've ever found, and it gives you five types. And no, to answer your question, Oscar, not everybody does have that inclination to be a people pleaser. Some people do. And it's often a double edged sword, right? It's you have this amazing ability to be empathic, to feel what other people are feeling, to be tuned in to other people's emotions and needs. And so it's a superpower. Like I'm that way. They call it merging pattern in the book. And on the positive side, you're great with people, but it can give you the negative side of overexerting yourself, doing too much for others and not putting yourself first. So, people who are having those tendencies, you need to put yourself first and you need to be selfish. But there are other people that fall into another pattern that's totally different, where instead of I'm not enough and I have to please everyone, it's you're not enough and you have to please me.
that's a cat.
That's a cat right there. That is a cat,
Yeah.
because cats do that all the time. You
Yeah.
have to earn my
Yes.
purr, okay?
Yeah. And that's
Dogs are like, give it to
another,
me, give it to me, give it to me.
it's interesting, Oscar, that you asked that in that way because most people assume that other people are like them. And we even get told, treat other people as you want to be treated. And this is not always the best advice because we could have very different needs and desires and personalities, and you can't just treat everybody like you want to be treated. You have to treat them sometimes how they want to be treated or how
That's
they need to be
But,
treated.
but
that's the
I, I,
difference
I, I
between the golden
I
rule
think,
is treat people like you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat people the way they want to be treated.
Yes.
yeah, yeah, but I think it means more like, on a basic level. Like, but there's a how to in between. Like, treat people like you want to be treated, but, right? Uh, what do you interpret respect as? What do you interpret love as? What do you interpret? It's that's unselfish, and that's the unselfish part of that is you now have to study what that person sees respect as. Yeah, I want to be respected. Okay, good. Show respect. What does that mean? I've been showing you respect. No, you haven't. I don't. What you interpret as respect isn't respect to me.
Yeah.
And what you interpret as love isn't love to me. So that's where the languages come in. Like you've got to be able to speak. I got to be able to know what does Oscar count as respect or loyalty, and where does that how does that priority fit in for him? Like is loyalty first and then respect? Like does he value loyalty over just kind of like this whole respect piece? And what does that all mean? I think each person is like a book. The longer I've known you, Whitney, and Oscar, is the more I learn where your boundaries are, like what you consider, the lines of, affection or respect and all of that. If I don't value now, that's the other part. That's the other question coming. Now, if I don't value you, none of that's going to matter, right? Because whether I don't you disrespected me, so if I don't value you, none of that matters, right? I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think about that?
I think those are great questions to ask when you're dating somebody. Like, how do you define respect? How do you define affection, love, all of those things? Because we need to get to know the other person and not just assume. You know that old saying that when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. It is so true. People make assumptions all the time when they're dating. And it's just like, be curious, is what I always tell them. Be
Right.
curious, find out, ask questions, get confirmation. Like, it's
Bring a
so
checklist on that first day. Here, fill this out.
silly. Going back to Phil, something you were saying too about the respect. I don't know if everybody knows this, but if you think about it, um, most men, the most important thing in the relationship is that you respect them.
Hmm.
So, and for women, the most important thing is that you love them.
Hmm.
So, women want to be cherished. We want to be told the compliments. You look amazing. I love you. Um, we when we have conflict, we want to know that they still care about us, that they still love us and like us. And men most want to be respected. And so if a woman is trying to treat a guy like she wants to be treated and they're having some disagreement and conflict and whatever, she might be saying, "But I love you. But I care so much about you. I'm here for you. I want to be with you. I love you." And all he's seeing is that she rolled her eyes at him 5 minutes ago and totally disrespected him. And he doesn't care how much she loves and treasures him if she doesn't
Hmm.
respect him. And I know this is true for both genders and everybody to
Hmm.
some degree. Like, of course, women also want to be
Right.
respected. Of course,
Hmm.
men also want to be loved. But there is, I think, a slight difference in what the most important thing is. So I don't
Hmm.
know. Have you guys seen that in
There's a
Yeah,
hierarchy of like, yeah.
that is definitely, you are definitely so on point with that, because it's like we interpret respect as love,
yeah.
right? So when you kind of like say, "Hey, man, you are my hero. Oh my goodness, I love that you did the," we go, "Yes, you are." Yes, I am. And you like like the other was it the other day? I cooked this meal the other day, and my wife was just so excited about it, and she was like, "Man, this is so good. This good." I was like, "Man, let me go out there and get some more. Let me
I
get
made
some
the
more of
best toast I
those."
ever made.
I I boiled that water so good.
I even buttered the bread.
Right? And like,
That's a Michelin star right there.
she's so smart, and I've met your wife and I know she's awesome. And it's like, so many people, their partner will cook and they'll find the one thing to nitpick. And you know what
Mhm.
happens? They're never going to cook for you again, because all they learn is if they cook for you that you nitpick and bother them. So, yeah.
Absolutely. The more you know, this is my personal lesson of late is that you have to kind of learn how to feed the love bank, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like and it's not as easy as it sounds. Like it's great to kind of spill it out like that, but it took we've been together for about 8 years now, and I'm still learning how to tweak my frequency to kind of hear what she wants to feel, right? And it's not as easy as it sounds, but it is something that needs to be done. I mean, talk to us about that.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
pro tip. As soon as you learn that, they're going to change it.
True. Understood. Understood. Yes. Take this on a weekly,
That was
daily,
that was
minutely
last week.
basis.
So,
But yeah.
there are researchers that have looked at real couples over the course of decades,
Mhm.
and they've discovered so many insights about what makes a relationship last and what signals a future end for the relationship. And there's a magic ratio of when you're dealing with conflict. So this isn't even just your regular day to day life. When you're dealing with a conflict, you need to have 5 positive interactions to every 1 negative. So, what does that mean? It means when we're having a conflict, if I say, give me that, you don't know what you're doing, that's a negative thing. If I say, uh, you're so stupid. If I say, like, there's so many things that come out that are negative, and something positive might be, you know, here, you give this a try. You're so good at this. Or I really appreciate you, right? If you're having a conflict about something, try to find ways to level it out, to add, and I have a whole list. I'm going to have a hard time thinking of them off the top of my head, but gratitude, expressing encouragement, we can get through this, right? Just saying, you're in the middle of this argument and he wants this and you want this and you're trying to figure it out. It's like, let's figure out how we can make this happen. Instead of you against me, I'm right. No, I'm right, which doesn't work. It never ends well with when you're competitive in that way, trying to be right with your partner. But that's what we all do, right? I'm not I'm not oblivious to the fact that I think that's how most people interact. But stop and say, I'm here for you. Like, I know we'll work this out. It's simple. Let's
Yeah.
It's us against the world, not you against me. Us against the world. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, I remember years ago, a counselor said to me, he said, you got to think of it like there is the problem, and we have to solve it, right? Versus you are the problem, and I am the right. You're the reason why this. Once you kind of like direct that energy towards your mate or your partner, they become the devil, right? They become the one that's causing all your mishaps and all of your problems in the world.
And the more you stuff it down and gloss over it and have your passive aggression of like, I'm just gonna grab my stuff and leave, like, it festers like mold in deep, dark places. And the more we stuff it down, the more it just like
It festers.
it
It
festers.
becomes, I think we should talk about this just a little bit. Even though I'm watching the time, we should talk about this, like because the more we internalize the issue, the more we kind of like come to our own conclusion about the solution. Right? It's like if I consider you the problem, then I got to say, well, I'm going to have to remove her in order to solve the problem. But you would find that sometimes, even when you remove the person, you still have the problem because the problem was in you, it wasn't in them.
So, another study that I'm familiar with found that there are at least 264 different ways to load a dishwasher.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I
So,
want
how
to hear
many
this.
times have you been
She's
in?
going to go the Confucius way.
How many times have you had conflict over something where it's simply a matter of opinion? I think it should be loaded like this. Well, I think it should be loaded like this. You know what? Maybe you're both right. Maybe it's not about who's right and who's wrong. Maybe you're both right.
It's tomato tomato. It's like
Yeah.
as long as somebody loads a dishwasher, it really doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? I felt like this was like, this is not a spoon moment. In the Matrix when he said, "This is not a spoon," I felt like Whitney just kind
There
of
is
swooped
no
in and went,
spoon.
"There is no spoon."
Yeah. And you know,
Mhm,
if relationships are this complicated, and in a
mhm,
relationship you know that you have a common goal, you've already committed, you know each other, and it's still hard. Imagine dating. You don't even know each other that well yet. You haven't made any commitment yet. You're just like, what's happening? I don't know. It's stressful. It's anxiety
mhm,
producing. Like, it's no wonder that people have anxious attachment and avoidant attachment. It's like, it's scary and it's hard.
mhm,
And I just, come back to, like, I love that I do what I do because I needed this help. I would have benefited so much if I had somebody with more knowledge and wisdom about this dating thing who could tell me, what are you doing? Like, why did you do that? No, don't do that. Don't do that again. Like, I look back at so many mistakes. Like, I'd go on a date with a guy that I liked, and then I'd like text him, and then text him again, and with text and like, what happened? I thought we had a really good connection. Like, what? And it was just like, it's like crazy making, and perfectly sane people. Sure, there are crazy people out there, but there's a lot of perfectly sane people that get crazy when it comes to dating. So I
yeah,
feel you. I'm here for you.
the heart matter is really kind of like what I hear. That's what I hear when you say that, because logically, it's like I've heard people say, "I would never allow anybody to do that to me." But the moment they really are in love with somebody, all of that changes, and you're like,
But
"Man, I'll do
didn't you
whatever
just
you
say
want."
that you weren't going to?
Ever let that happen to you? But
No,
you're
but this
you're
is different. This is different.
Yeah.
right.
No,
Of course,
the line that I, but I love him.
right, exactly. I love him. So I got to give him
And
room. And, I know he just has so much love to give that he has to give it to every.
you tried that line, didn't
He
you?
always
No, I
comes
got so
back.
much love.
He's got so much love to give. Like, really? No, I've heard a lot of different things. I'm not kidding you, Oscar. I've heard some people say some really, like, you
Yeah.
hear the situation, and this situation is a typical guy girl thing, but the guy is just an avid you know man whore. Okay, and she's like, oh no, no, he doesn't really mean, I know he loves me, and he doesn't really mean to do what he's doing. So, I mean, but then, I think the priorities were, she has the house, she has the car, there's this whole provision and safety that's being created, that is like, okay, it doesn't matter, right? How do you talk about that? I've never
Well,
been able to understand that.
what, so yes, you're right. A lot of it is fear, right? But it reminds me of this quote that I have found to be true over and over and over and over again, which is, there are no solutions, only trade offs.
Mm.
There's no perfect solution.
So,
There's
right.
trade-offs, right? You want to have a kid, you're going to have to trade off some areas of your time and your energy. You don't have kids, you're going to trade off, having someone to be there when you're old. Like, everybody on the internet, on social media, is trying to tell you that their way is the right way. And
Hmm.
everybody's fighting and arguing about, oh my gosh, how can you say that? It's not this, it's that. People put people into two categories, it's red or it's blue or whatever. Like, it's pervasive in every area.
Hmm.
Feminism versus traditional housewife, and it's like, can we just be authentic to ourselves and just live our own life in the way that we want to live it? Like, if one woman wants to be a traditional housewife, then amazing, that's her thing, let her do it. She's not hurting anybody by doing that. And if somebody else wants to be the breadwinner of the household as a woman, like, let her do it if that's authentic, if that feels good. I think as a coach, I'm here to help people with what they're stuck in with, where they have a problem, where they're not happy. um, but way too many people need to just mind their own business and like do better in their own life and stop trying to criticize and judge everyone else and tell everyone else is wrong, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, when it comes to married, like when it comes to that, yeah, you got to find out where your win is, but there are certain situations that I think are just kind of like you got to kind of know when it's like where the breaks are, in the
Yeah,
sense where, like, if I've heard of too many situations where, like, sickness is brought home. I'm going to just put it that way. Like,
I hear
you know what I'm
you.
saying? And the partner is innocent, right? But now they have to deal with this major issue that is like, why? You can say the why me thing, why me, but it's certain compromises can lead to certain things that it's like it's better off to just kind of like not engage versus kind of tolerating it, don't you think? I mean,
Well, it's a choice that everybody has. I mean, if that happens,
from
you
that
have a choice
perspective,
to
I'm
leave.
saying,
You have a choice
yeah.
to leave, or you have a choice to stay. And a lot of people will be afraid, right? And there might even
Mhm.
be indoctrinated beliefs like marriage is for life, and they'll just stay no matter what because that's the belief that they were programmed with, and they're not willing to see that there might maybe possibly be exceptions to that rule.
Right. I know. I agree with that. That's why I pushed that, because I mean, I came out of that whole doctrinal background, but I've found that it's not always like dry, cut and dry, right? There are things that there are ingredients that make it to where you've got to kind of like think to yourself, is this gonna mean my life? you know, and really kind of like weigh that out, you know.
Yeah, and it all starts with your relationship with yourself. And
Mhm.
I as a coach, I think some people might be like, oh, well, I can't afford a coach. Like, I'm not at that level where I'm ready to like get one-on-one coaching with someone, and it might be expensive. And I just want to say, I have an app, I have courses, I have cheap products. Like, you could work with me one-on-one at a certain price, but if you just need to improve your self-love, you can go through my self-love course on your own. And this course goes way deeper than anything else I've seen out there that deals with self love. This is like embodying your self love, really learning how to take action to practice self compassion, to know what you're worth. Because if you're putting up with somebody that is treating you poorly, it probably starts with you treating yourself poorly.
Truth. That is the truth. Let's share that real quick. I see your website here, and it is beautiful, I must say, by the way.
Thank
Very
you.
nice, very well done. It is whitneykobrin.com,
Yeah.
and it is
So
amazing.
on my
Go ahead.
website, you can learn more about me, learn more about my coaching. You can download a free guide that is how to get more in real life dates from dating apps. And you can also schedule a complimentary strategy session with me. So I'll get on the phone with you and we can talk about your specific challenges. I will put together a strategy for you specifically. And then that's it. You can choose to take that strategy and run with it, or join one of my programs or group programs, or work with me one on one and I'll help you implement that strategy. If you scroll down to the very bottom, I haven't added much about my app on here yet because the app is just something that I use with my clients. But if you click on the Android or the Apple link there, it should take you to the Love Coach in My Pocket app. And you can download that on through Apple or Android, or just go on the website to
Oh, okay.
lovecoachinmypocket.passion.io. Maybe.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, this is great stuff. Contribute to the blog as well. I see you have a blog here. I
Yep,
mean,
my
that's really
podcasts
cool.
are listed there under the resources. So yeah, there's a lot that I think people can learn.
Awesome. What are some of the best ways you want people to reach out to you?
Go to my website, whitneykobrin.com, schedule a one-on-one consultation. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active there, talking about the different areas that I work with people in, and you can reach out and contact me there too. I also have my link tree on my Instagram. Um, but yeah, overall, if you're struggling in a relationship, if you're struggling with someone that you're dating, you're not sure where it's going, you're not getting what you want, get help. Whether it's from me or a therapist or someone else, we often can't see our own blind spots and we don't really understand the whole big picture as well as we think we do. So, getting an outside perspective from an expert is so, so, so valuable. And it can really completely change the trajectory of your life, like it did for me when I found a coach 12 years ago.
Well, Whitney, thank you so much.
Thank
This was
you.
it's always amazing. Isn't it always amazing to have her on, Oscar? I
Yep,
mean,
and what do we say all the time? Save yourself time, money, hire an expert. Because again, that's why it's called the blind spot. You don't see it.
you don't see it. You don't see
Yeah.
it. It happens when it happens. Thank you so much, Whitney. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Future people who are watching, all of you folks that watch after we broadcast, thank you so much for your support. Leave your comments, leave your questions. If you'd like to reach out to Whitney, we're connected. She's a part of the Phoenix National Network. So even if you go to pnnstationplus.com, you'll be able to see her information there and connect with her as well. So thank you guys so much and enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you guys.